Hello, Magee students. It's Mr. Eagleson. I'm coming to you from my office. It's Thursday, September 10th, and I'm hoping to get this out to you soon so that we can give you lots of information that you need for the start of the school year. So I'm going to get right at it. This is probably going to take about maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So grab yourselves a drink. You can pause if you need to. Grab yourselves a drink and a snack, and feel free to write down any notes, take any screenshots, or pause as we go because you can watch this as many times as you need. So, a couple things right off the bat. You're going to recognize a few slides from the people who we saw in spring of last year when all this COVID business began. A couple of these are some reminders, but we've also got a lot of new information because, as you know, that the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education, we're trying a different model that we didn't find out about until the end of July. So we've been working really hard to make sure that everything's up and going for you for school on Monday the 14th. So first off, I'm just going to talk to you quickly about personal protective equipment. That's PPE, and it's okay. We would like for you to wear some masks. That's a big change. More in a couple of slides about that. But masks are going to help keep everybody in the building safe, you and others. Gloves are fine if you dispose of them frequently, but we don't really recommend gloves. What we find with gloves is that people don't wash their hands, and they end up being worse off anyway. So we don't really recommend that you wear gloves because you're not really protecting yourself with them. Your best defense, as you obviously know from my clever GIF or GIF, wash your hands. And the preferred method of washing our hands is definitely going to be soap. Soap and water. You know the drill by now. We're going to go 20 seconds, happy birthday twice, getting in those nails, fingers, wrists, everywhere. Really important that you wash your hands with soap. If you can't wash your hands with soap and water, it doesn't need to be hot. Cold is just as effective. Please use one of the many sanitizing stations that we have in the building and also in your classrooms. Another thing to keep in mind, and I've been very aware of this since moving to more of a Teams online environment and Zoom and all the rest of it, we touch our faces a lot. This tends to be it's a very efficient way of transferring viruses because we touch our nose, face, and mouth, and it's a big cause of cold and flu season. So wash those hands, try not to touch your face. A little bit more about masks. So really important that the world has changed and masks are becoming very commonplace. And you will see them at Magee. You're going to see the staff wear them. You're going to see other students wear them. It's not a joke to wear a mask. You need to be respectful. I'm hoping to see some really creative ones when students return. Everybody's going to be getting a mask that's provided here at the school, and the staff are provided with them as well. So face masks are going to be required in any common areas. So that'll be the hallways, rotunda, atrium. They'll also be required in some classes where social distancing is it's a bit more difficult. So you'll find out from your teachers it's mainly the elective areas where there will be some classes we can't really socially distance as much as we'd like, so we will wear our masks and make sure we disinfect everything, including our hands. Speaking of disinfecting, I know this is when I was visited schools in Japan. It was really neat to see the kids. They all helped out with cleaning the school. Students, your teachers may ask you to clean your area, and this is to keep you safe. So we'll be using cleaning solution. Also, classes will have cloths, and you may be asked to clean your working area. Remember, this isn't because somebody's being lazy. This is something that we just want to protect you the best that we can. You might remember this slide from the spring version. If you're feeling any one of these symptoms, they could be a symptom of COVID-19. Any one of these would mean that you stay home, you don't come to school, you need to get checked out by a health professional. That might involve getting a COVID-19 test. The turnaround's pretty good. I'm hearing 24 to 48 hours. We do not want you to return to school until you've consulted with a health professional, mainly your family doctor, I don't think that walk-in clinics, I believe that you have to make appointments ahead of time. So if you're feeling at all sick, err on the side of caution, stay at home, email the office. That's magee@vsb.bc.ca. And you can let there's only 2 teachers, so you can let them know as well. Might be 3, but we'll talk about that more in a bit. Okay, leaving health and safety. Just chat a little bit about MyEd BC. So it's a really important part of the Magee and just any public schools in BC. This is an important part of our information system. So this is where you're going to get your timetable and reports. This is also how we send emails home. It will be through MyEd. We've been hearing a few reports that people haven't been getting their MyEd emails from teachers and also the administration. So please make sure check your junk in your spam folders. Make sure they haven't been diverted there, and you want to add that address, that sysadmin address. Add it to your address book, just to make sure that you get all of our messages. Communication's super important. Even more so now with COVID-19. If you haven't been getting any email messages, please email the down there at the bottom, the magee@vsb.ca address, just to make sure that that you're in the system and everything's functioning with your email. On the Magee webpage, if you go under Families, the MyEd BC Family Portal, this is where you can find all of the support around MyEd BC if you're having any problems. There's a bunch of troubleshooting there. They show you how to reset passwords. It would be very helpful if people took a look before you're experiencing any problems, because the office it's a little bit overwhelming. We have had a lot of people coming in at once, so we just want to make sure that we can help you as quickly as we can. So please check out the portal help section, and most of the time we find that problems are sorted out there. If you are experiencing problems, you can't access it. Couple things to keep in mind: don't use a phone, use a computer. Chrome seems to be the best browser for MyEd BC. We seem to experience a few problems. If your account is disabled, just stop, take a deep breath, slow down, read the instructions. Most of the time, you just need to reset your password. It's on that window. If you try and do it on your phone, you'll probably miss it. If you're still stuck, please email Magee@VSB, and Kelsey will do her best to get back to you as quickly as she can. Just keep in mind that we're dealing with a lot of people right now, and sometimes it takes a little while to get back to you. Speaking of the office, you're going to have some forms to be filled out. The forms are available online. I believe that a link was sent home to our forms if you just want to do them online, and some require printing. You're more than welcome to do that. That said, the required forms will be sent home in your 1-1 class next week. Masks and a maximum of 2 people in the office. So if you see there's 2 people who aren't people working in the office, we would like for you to wait outside. There are stickers on the floor so you can see where to go. Instead of coming to the office to print your timetable, great idea on your phone, just take a screenshot of it and then you have it there. There's only 2 classes. It's not going to be very complicated to get around quarter 1. Parents, unfortunately, we need for you to not enter the building. If you must come into the building, please email your grade administrator and make an appointment there. We don't want, we'd like to restrict any adults coming into the building to keep our bubble as small as we can make it. Printing is available. You can print in the library. That is a bit more information to come there. If you can print at home, great, but we do have some printing available in the library. Counselors, the heart of the school. They are the liaison with teachers and administrators and parents. I know that people have been really anxious to see your counselors. Please be patient. They are getting a lot of emails and a lot of phone calls right now, so they're going to get to you. You just got to be patient. Some things are more important than others, and they're doing a fantastic job of prioritizing. So they will get back to you. If you haven't heard back in several days, maybe just give them a reminder. But in general, they probably won't get back to you an hour after you email or at night or over the weekend, or the very next day that they do need a little bit of time. So we're going to be meeting counselors outside of their office. Their offices are quite small, and we want to keep counselors, we want to keep you safe. So counselors will be using different rooms throughout the building for meetings. I want you to email them, please, and set an appointment. I know it can be a bit inconvenient, but now with phones and devices all over the place, um, email, you can at least set an appointment, and we'll be using Teams as well, so counselors can set up a meeting with you through Teams if either you don't feel comfortable or the counselor's offices are just too small. It might be more effective for a Teams meeting. So grade 12, as you know, Mr. Canavos will be your counselor. Grade 11, Mrs. Lurcher. Grade 10, Mrs. Miladinovich. And grade 9, we'd like to welcome Ms. Nordman to the team this year. Now, I know grade 8s are really wondering about who their counselors are. So we're going to divide you up grade 8s by last name. So if your last name is A through to Gao, G-A-O, or if you're a leader, you're going to have Mr. Canavos this year. If your last name is G-A-R, Gar to L-A-K, Lack, you're going to have Mrs. Lurcher. If your last name starts with Lan through to S, you're going to have Ms. M, and that's also international and ELL students. And surnames T through Z and our SPART students, you're going to have Ms. Nordman for this year. So take a screenshot of this, pause it, write it down if you need to. We will also be putting this up on the web page as well. Back to health and safety. So flow. Really important that we have people moving safely in and out of the building. I know it's an inconvenience, but we can manage it. Less than half of the students are going to be in the building at once, so we got this. You'll be tempted to use shortcuts. Please be kind and don't. Just go with the flow. Don't go, don't cut across hallways and that sort of thing. I'll show you a couple of slides that'll explain how the flow is going to work. This year we're going to do something a bit different. Last year, in last spring, we had everybody entering through the main doors. This year we're going to open up the doors. We would like you to switch up the way that you enter the building. So try a different door every day. That way we're not going to have everybody clumping through the main doors on the way in. That said, even if the bus comes in and there's a bunch of students coming in through the front doors, they should be able to social distance, but we'd like to spread it out a little bit this year. So try and use a different door you haven't normally used. You may exit through any door at any time during the day as well, and that's a bit different from last year. So couple things we're continuing. Stairs will be only up or down, so one direction only, please. That's slightly inconvenient, but that'll keep the flow going, and we'll stop those awkward dances where you're not sure who's going where, much like the penguin. Just like when you're driving, I know grade 10s, 11s, and 12s, if you started any of your driving, you're going to stay right. So we're always just going to stay on the right-hand side, and then that way we can avoid the clockwise, counterclockwise bit. Try not to go against the flow. There will be no lockers this year, so there won't be a lot of congestion in the hallways. So unfortunately, you're just going to have to keep everything with you, and that also includes SPARTs. Elevator, as always, restricted to 2 people, restricted to students with mobility needs, and staff only. If you don't have any problems with stairs, we expect that you take the stairs and do not use that elevator. Up and down. So the northeast stairwell, that's by the foods room, and the west stairwells, they are going to be up only. So the west stairwell is the one by the office, kind of when you come in off Maple Street. The Cinderella stairs, everybody knows which ones they are. And the southeast stairwells, those are the ones over by the art rooms. They are going to be downstairs only, so please don't come in off of Laburnum and then go straight up those stairs. You gotta make your way over to the office and head up there. Now this is a part that is taking a lot of hard work. It looks super complicated, but after I explain it, hopefully it won't be. I think it might be a bit confusing for a day or two, and then after that, it's not going to be difficult at all. So We moved to quarters this year. The reason why we moved to quarters is because late in July, the Ministry of Education told us that we need to have cohorts. Students need to be cohorted into groups of less than 120. At Vancouver, the Vancouver School Board, our senior management team, they went a step further and we made our cohorts 15. So the highest exposure you'll have to other students will be 15 for 2 weeks, and then 15 other students 2 weeks later, and I'll explain that a bit more as we go along. So what you'll notice that's different is we're going to have two periods. We've got a morning period and we have an afternoon period. The morning periods are the A periods. The afternoon period, see in the blue there, that will be the B period. So morning period starts at 8:40, afternoon period starts at 1:18. We've changed from flex time because flex time is no longer it's no longer your choice whether or not you take part in flex time. The learning and remote times, we have two of them. There's going to be LRT-A and LRT-B. Teachers may schedule your remote classes during those times. You're going to need to show up. Attendance will be taken, and they're going to be giving you some instructions, and it's going to be just like a regular class. That'll be 2 to 5 times per week. So no more, you know what, I think I'm just going to fire up the PlayStation and not bother going to class. No, if you have a remote class and your teacher sets a time for example, let's say it's 10:45, you need to be there just like you would with regular class on your computer. So we took the old schedule. Everybody recognizes this. Day 1, day 2, 1.1. We reworked it into this schedule where we couldn't go 1.1 and 1.2. That was mainly for SPARTs. We needed to make sure that SPARTs were able to have A classes and B classes. And what we wanted to do when we came up with this plan is to make sure that all of the health guidelines were number one in the way that we planned things. So it meant a lot of work. We've had a lot of late hours trying to get the schedule together for you, but we're really proud of it and we think it's going to work. So as I said before, the A classes and the B classes, what we split up, we had to split up SPARTs first. SPARTs, if you have training in the afternoon, you're going to be in A classes. SPARTs, if you have training in the morning, you're going to have B classes. Everybody else is pretty random. Your counselors will not be able to change it because you like to sleep in. It was difficult enough just coming up with this schedule, and I'll be honest, there won't be a whole lot of schedule or course changes coming up because it was took quite a bit of effort just to get to this point. So quarters. Here's how they work. Sorry, my phone's ringing away there. If you're phoning, sorry, I'm going to have to hang up on you. So the quarters. What we used to have, we had classes that were on a linear schedule. That was 8 classes that ran year long. To make sure that we keep our contacts with other students low, now we have classes that run in 4 quarters. So it's kind of like having 4 semesters. So instead of 10 months, now we go in 10 weeks. Pros and cons to that. You get through courses really, really fast. The con is if you're not on that course, you can fall behind really quick. So they're kind of fast and furious, and you're on to the next one. So in the first quarter, in quarter 1, year 1-1 and 1-3 classes, they're going to be done in 10 weeks, September 14th to November 17th. Totally different system, kind of what they do in a post-secondary will run like this. So how it works. If you have a 1-1 or a 1-3 class, you're going to have both face-to-face, that's F2F on face-to-face, and remote sessions are going to happen. If you're SPART, you're only going to have 1 class because you have half the classes. Instead of having 8, you have 4 anyway. So students, as I explained before, they've been assigned. So you're either in the A or the B cohort, maximum 15. There's a couple of exceptions, and that's where the masks come in and the social distancing. There aren't too many classes that are over 15. There's just a handful. 1-1A will be in the morning, 1-1B in the afternoon. That's going to be for the first week. 113, you're going to have remote classes for that week. So that means that you're going to be using Microsoft Teams to meet with your teachers and to get assignments and to do your learning in the 1-3 class. After 1 or 2 weeks, kind of depends on the quarter, depends on, like when there's a Pro D day and a holiday and all that. Generally, it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's 1 week, sometimes it's a bit less just to balance out the calendar. You're going to switch. 1-1 will become remote in the LRTA or LRTB, depending on what your teacher sets. 1-3 will be in person in either the first or second period. So just because you're a 1-1A doesn't mean you'll be a 1-3A. You could be a 1-3B and 1-1A or vice versa, unless you're a SPART. Linear courses, we really had to limit the linear courses. So that's the what we remember where they went from September to June. They're super difficult to try to program. So there's almost no linear courses. There's just a couple of them. But basically, if you're in a linear course, you'll be in slot L1, which is Monday, Thursday morning, L2, which is Monday, Thursday afternoon, L3, which is Tuesday, Friday morning, or L4, which is Tuesday, Friday afternoon during those LRT blocks. So how the L blocks fit into the quarters is the quarters will just continue running quarter. We'll have quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. Linear A and B courses will just run on Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Friday. We've got a handful of early morning, lunchtime, and after school, mainly music courses that are quite large, and we had to spread students out there. You'll find out a bit more once you get your timetable. Okay, so as you can see, it's a bit complicated. Don't worry about this so much. If you're a music student, I would imagine at some point you'll have an off timetable course that will run either lunch or early morning or after school. Wednesdays, we're going to keep that open for flex time. So that will be where your career education teachers meet with you probably on Teams, and they will work experience, peer tutors, peer counselors, yearbook are going to meet on Wednesdays. Now, I just gave you a sample of a weekly schedule. This is as you can see, it's a grade 12 student, and this student has picked multiple courses, and I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can pull down that tab so that it says either quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, or you can go full year. So full year shows you these are all the courses for the year. If you click it to Q1, it'll just show you your courses that are in the quarter 1. So this student has Mr. J for Anatomy and Physiology 12, period 1-1. So this student in the first quarter is going to have Mr. J for 1-1. This student has, you can see that it's you can see the course code up at the top. There's a B at the end of it. So it says MATPH 12-101B. All that means is Anatomy and Physiology is like it's the course code that we use in MyEd. It's a grade 12 course. It's section 101, and this student has been put into the B section, which is in the afternoon. You can see that this student also has Mr. Sang for Pre-Calc 12. There's the code MPREC12. That's just the code for MyEd. 103 is a section, and this student will have morning pre-calc classes. So for a week or two, this student will be coming in the afternoon. The next week or two, the student will be coming in the morning. Now, there's also one more course that the student is taking, and that's the CLC. All grade 12s take it, CLC 12. That's an off timetable course. That course is going to be run through Teams and maybe some face-to-face meetings, but that's going to be done on Wednesday. So if you're looking at your timetable, sorry, just rubbed the mic there. If you're looking at your timetable, this is how you work it out. So in the upper left-hand corner, you can either go Q1, where you only see your quarter 1 courses, or you go to full year, where you can see all of them. On Monday the 14th, you will be going to your 1-1 class. So That's the first one you go to. That's going to be either at 8:40 or 1:18. 8:40 if it's in A class. This student will be coming to school. First class is Monday at 1:18 p.m. Okay, if that wasn't enough colors and rainbows and all sorts of other excitement, I will be sending out the year-long rotation. Don't worry about it too much, but basically what this shows you is when we rotate. So the quarters will have 44 classes. First quarter is 43. Rotations will last between 1 or 2 weeks. So if you look over in September, the light blue, it says 1.1 F2F, 1.3 remote. That means the 1-1 classes are face-to-face, 1.3 is remote. And then on Friday, if you look down there, sorry, it's hard to see. On Friday the 18th, that's the last day where we have 1.1 is face-to-face, and it flips. Monday, it's 1.3 is face-to-face, 1.1 is remote. So as you can see, it's done. November 17th, we're finished. We're on to the next quarter. You've got your 2 new classes. So it's going to be nice. So you've only got 2 teachers to deal with, and the teachers only have 2 classes to deal with. Sometimes 3 classes, maybe 4 if you're in music. But it should be pretty manageable. But you got to stay on top of it. It's going to happen fast and furious. You're going to be done, and then you move on to the next one. Reports will be January and June. We will definitely have to have interns that will come out 4 times. So you really don't want to get behind and get on it. Like if you feel like you're falling behind, get help soon, because in 10 weeks it's over. And attendance will be taken for face-to-face and remote classes as well, as I mentioned before. Okay, some Q&A. These are some questions that we've been getting through the office and counselors, and hopefully I'll answer it here. Hey, first, when is the orientation? So there's no grade 9 through 12 orientation. Teachers are going to be calling today, that's Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, to make sure you're coming back to school. Make sure your schedules are all sorted out. Teachers will be contacting you today and tomorrow. If you don't hear from your teacher, you can email your teacher, because you've already found your timetable on the MyEd portal. Grade 8s, we're going to see you Friday at 10 a.m. So if you're an A grade 8, you come at 10 a.m. If you're a B grade 8, you come at 11 a.m. And that can be found for your classes. We're gonna have our 1-3 classes. If you're 1-3A, you come Friday at 10. 1-3B, Friday at 11. You're going to meet us on the back field. That's the one over by Maple Grove. Your teacher will hold up a sign with the teacher's name on it. You're going to show up with your mask. If you don't have a mask, you can bring that. If you don't have a mask, you can get the mask from the teacher, and you're going to meet on the field, and we're going to have a little bit of an orientation. Grade 9 through 12, you're going to come to your first class on Monday. That'll be classes actually start your 1-1 class on Monday. When is the first day of school? Monday, September 14th, 1-1. It's 8:40. 1-1A is 8:40. 1-1B, you're at 1:18. Question, I need to change my courses. You may not need to change them. Some of you might need to change them. There were a couple of, because we had to essentially rebuild the timetable in about 3 days. There might be a couple of courses that you're going, what? I don't remember that happening. Why did I get these Sparts blocks there, or whatever it is? Email your counselor, take a deep breath, be patient. There's a lot of people before you. They are super busy. They will get to you. Give them at least a couple of days before emailing back. I'd say 2 or 3 days at least. Course changes will only be made in exceptional circumstances. It was very difficult just to even come up with the courses that we have, and we don't have a lot of wiggle room right now. Will leaders be the same? Yes and no. So leaders classes, you may not, if you have a leaders class, you may not actually have that leaders class until quarter 2, 3, or 4. We're working on something with that, but we really want to stay in those cohorts. So leaders, you've got other elective classes where you're mixed in with other students. That will be as it was before, but just the way that the calendar fell, it's just kind of how it is. So You will go for periods where you're with leaders all the time, and you might go for a quarter where you don't have an actual leaders class. You may be in there with other leaders students, but it may not be exclusive just to leaders. Will I be able to keep my SPART schedule? Absolutely. This is why we went to the A and B splits to support our SPARTS learners. So SPARTS, you should be all sorted out. There shouldn't be any problems there. I think I mentioned that in several other spots. Do I need to wear a mask? Masks are required anywhere that distancing can't take place. Hallways, you have to have a mask. Rotunda, you need a mask. Atrium, you need a mask. Certain classrooms will require masks as well. I live far away. Can I stay at school? We do have a lot of students who come from East Van and Richmond and Burnaby and Langley even. Um, while we would prefer the building to be as empty as possible, sometimes you won't be able to get home in time for your remote learning class. It's okay to stay or use the atrium library, but you will need to to remain socially distant. So if you're clustering, a teacher or staff member will probably ask you to go. If you're not clustering and you're properly spaced out and you're working on something, that'll be all right. Sorry, no lockers, and that's just mainly for health and safety, and so we don't have bunching in the hallways. Can I eat at school? Preferably not. That's mainly just for hygiene, but you could eat at one of the tables after you wash your hands. The cafeteria, unfortunately, will not be open. Okay, so what do I do if I get sick? If you're sick, stay at home. Call the stay at home. You said it twice. Stay at home, and call the school. Staff and students may not return until seen by a doctor, possibly even had a test for COVID-19. If you're sick at school, tell your teacher what we're going to do is we will. You're going to wait outside the office, and one of the administrators will take you to an isolation room. You'll need to be picked up by a parent. You won't be able to go home on a bus, and that's to make sure that if you do have COVID-19, we don't want you going on a bus and spreading it to everybody else. I heard a rumor that so and so got COVID. Do not be part of the rumor mill. If you have concerns, tell the administration. The last thing we need is a mob of people saying that so and so went on a holiday and came back and has COVID, and that's untrue. That would be unfair to anybody, and anything where there's a positive test will be handled by Vancouver Coastal Health. They essentially take over at that point, but please do not spread any rumors. Can parents come and visit? Unfortunately, no. We're really limiting the amount of adults that are coming to the building. So, for example, teachers teaching on call will be only in certain schools. We actually have a teacher teaching on call who's assigned to the building to make sure that we don't have multiple adults going to multiple buildings. So parents, contact your grade administrator if you really need a meeting. What about sports? We're working on it. I miss sports. I'm missing it a ton. I know that some organizations have started with the proper PPE and all the rest of it. Some sports have started some modified versions. We are working on it as of September 9th. There are no sports yet. We hope to come up with a plan, hopefully where we can do intramurals and work up from there. Washrooms will be open, maximum of 2 people, so you might have to wait a bit. What's the DHA? So the daily health assessment. You need to do it every day. Do a daily health assessment. Am I sick? Am I okay? Sometimes you don't even think like, oh man, it's weird. I got a sniffle today. You need to stop and think, is this allergies? Is this something I've already had? Or is this the start of a cold or possibly something worse? So you need to check with a parent. You're getting your DHA forms from the school. You just need to do it once, sign it that you know what it is, and we expect you to do the daily health assessment every day to protect yourself and everybody in the building. That's it for my slideshow. We're about 34 minutes here, and I really appreciate, if you're still with me, I appreciate your attention. I know there are a million questions right now. We're doing our best to answer them. The office has been hopping. The office staff, they've been so gracious and so kind with their time. I can't thank them enough. Our counselors have been working overtime. Teachers have been eagerly getting everything ready for you. So we're really excited to see you come back. We hope to see everybody, not all at once, of course. And I'm confident in our plan. I think we've got this. Our apologies if we're not able to get back to you right away with any questions you might have. I'm hoping this is answered questions, and your 1-1 teachers on Monday will be able to answer any other questions you might have. So stay tuned for any more messaging from the school. Check your emails. Keep that free. And I think we're going to have a great quarter, and we're going to make the best of it. So thank you for your attention, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye bye.